Hello. Welcome to Conversations with Cheryl Weston. We're happy to have you tune in with us. And so we've got quite a few things to cover, so I'm not going to waste any time on getting the program going tonight because I want to deal with the City of Omaha City Council. Um, and beginning this Friday, which July 26, 2024, every Friday we're going to post some of the items on the Omaha City Council agenda. Because folks, you need to start getting out and reading that. If you can attend the meetings, and many of us can't, you need to be following what's happening on the city council agenda because that is affecting our everyday lives and our everyday pocketbook. So many things go through there. And then we come up and, at the very end, we say, well, we didn't know, or we don't really want that, or we didn't get an input. We've got to start monitoring the city council because most everything that comes through, they pass. I mean, it's unbelievable to see a council in Omaha in my past years who have been so like every single thing. There's almost like no debate. Um, and there's not much input from the citizens of Omaha. So that's what I'm doing every Thursday. It is printed. You can get on the list to be able to have the city council agenda sent to you, emailed to you. You can do that. We need to be monitoring this because some of the things that are going on with the city council and getting passed. And once it goes down to the city council, it's almost like a done deal. Very few items, like I say, they probably have a 1%, maybe a little bit higher of not approving everything Queen Mayor says that she wants, recommends, or so forth. So, as I said, every Friday now, beginning, we are going to bring up the city council agenda, some of the items I think are really important, but there's items I probably don't see in the same light that you see. And that's why it is so important for you to get out there and start watching these things. If you can't attend, sign up for it, go back and look at it at your leisure. If you want to kick your feet up, have a little cocktail or something and read through it so you can at least give an input. You can write in your opposition, or if you are an opponent, not an opponent of it, but you are in favor of it, you can do that. But the thing is, let's start being informed, people. It's amazing how much goes on that we don't know until it's too late. So without any further ado, let's get going here. And I'm going to bring up these items. One of the first thing is, as I said, you can go into the city council. Here's the homepage. You can go right there and guess what? You see citycouncil.cityofomaha.org. And you can pull up and find anything you want here. There is the members, the lot calendar, the agenda. You can go down here and click any of the city council agendas. So become informed. Stop allowing this just to go over and we're paying for it out of our pocket for items that we really don't want. The majority of the people don't want, because there's only some people want. So with that, I'd like to move on to July 30th, Tuesday, July 30th, City Council agenda. And as I said, you can sign up for it if you go back to the page of the home city council. Right over here, it's council agendas. And we'll just get right there, see where it says agendas. Very easy, not hard at all. Come right down there. If you would like to, interested in having the distribution list, be on the distribution list, please email the city clerk right there, city clerk. So there's no reason why you can't do that a little bit. Going back over some of the items that I had marked that I had interest in, and I don't know how many other people, but I thought these were very important, or at least to have some kind of looking at. So first item that I had marked on my city council agenda was items that are in the consent agenda. And you have to learn what that terminology is here, where it says the city council agenda. Right here, any member of the city council may cause any item placed on the consent agenda to be removed. Items removed from the consent agenda shall be taken up immediately following the consent agenda in the order in which they were removed. What you need to know, that consent agenda, so many items get put into this section, and those items, they can lump them all together and get an approval for them all in one big shot, unless somebody calls for them to have a separate. And that doesn't mean that it won't get approved, but at least you get to see, have some type of conversation on that. So the consent agenda items, as they say here, are 21 through 36. I did start looking at some of the consent agenda items, and some of my I found were, if you go to, let's move this down, item 33 was one of the first ones. Well, actually, item 32. And the reason why I noticed this was because the dollar amount that's in it. And this is an ordinance to provide the city council of the city of Omaha to authorize sale from time to time, but no later than December 31st, 2032, without any further vote of the electorate. Okay, that electorate is going to be us, because this takes place. If this is approved, it will be on the ballot. Approval or rejection at the general election makes a decision. But what they're doing here with the consent agenda is, if this is approved by the city council, it will be put out on the November 5th, 2024 ballot. But look at this, folks. First of all, it says this can happen anytime before 2032. So it's not necessarily going to show up on this November 5th. It just has to be done before 32. So they can put each one of these in throughout this whole period of time up until 2032. But look at this, not to exceed $80,900,000. What is this going to do? Provide funds for the pavement of constructing, reconstructing, widening, improving, extending, and equipping streets, expressways, freeways, and interim expressways, parking facilities, parks, bridges, and so forth. All that sounds really good if it was really happening. But how many of you, like me, complain about what our streets are looking like? But they keep saying, the money, the money, the money. Now, let's look at number 33. Here we go again. No later. This will provide the city council of the city of Omaha to authorize, issue, and sell from time to time, but no later than that December 31st. General obligation bonds of the city of Omaha in the amount not to exceed $146 million. Okay, again, this is going to be acquiring, constructing, and I want you to note on this, the cost of acquiring, constructing, improving, and rehabilitating police buildings, facilities, libraries, park maintenance, auditorium, conventions, and on and on. Again, folks, if this is approved, they will have this on the ballot. And we all know we are very lax at really reading what those ballot information for amendments or requests to approve or reject. where we need to do a better job. When November 5th comes, or whenever you get your early ballot, you need to read those. But we need to learn to educate ourselves and inform ourselves of these ballot additions. So, number 34, here again, $10 million. Various parks, recreation improvement projects, necessary plans, but not the cost of equipment and payment of salaries to provide this. City of Omaha for their approval or rejection, $10 million for the purpose of providing funds. Well, all I can say on this one, I don't know when North Omaha is going to get their park, like Coons Park, when it's going to come up. $10 million. And then let's move along to number 35. Same thing, issue and sell bonds. This is a general obligation bonds of the City of Omaha for $72 million for the purpose of providing funds for the payment, again, constructing, widening, extending, equipping boulevards, roads, and bridges, on and on and on. As long as they do this before 2032, because all of this isn't going to come up in 1 year, but they have, if you vote for it on November 5th, 2024 election, ballot, whatever you want, this is what is going to happen. That's $72 million. All this money keeps getting approved through bonds and things, and our streets are terrible, terrible. 36. Here's another one. Same thing, no later than December 32, I'm sorry, $10 million. Providing capital expenditures of the city police and fire departments, vehicles, necessary plans and specifications. We all know this one will definitely be passed because guess what? It's got that city police. The heck with the fire department, but you got that police department, and we know, hey, what's got to happen there? And the thing about these folks, you can go in, and when you click like see attached, you can get all the paperwork. Usually that is behind it. So it gives it a more explicit information, so forth. But see, all right, let's go back because we got some other things. Oh, went back too fast. Sometimes I get that because I get involved and it's like, okay. So those are all in the consent. So they can do all of those in one vote. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next set, the consent agenda resolutions. Remember, an ordinance or a resolution, there is a difference. And what we ought to be doing as citizens is, hey, what is the difference? Explain to us, the people. Larry, who gets up and says there's not enough education of what the city council do, I have to agree with you, Larry. You're right. Consent agenda resolutions. So these are various ones with companies and so forth. But again, guess what? If these are consent agendas items, they can be looked together. Now, moving along, the one that I wanted to get to out of this consent agenda is item number 43. Resolution 2024-0846. Resolution that the City Council of the City of Omaha encourages the establishment of a sister city agreement between the City of Omaha and Carlentini, Sicily, in the Italian Republic, and asks that steps be taken to establish such a relationship. Now, I don't have any reason. You can go in here. Here's the agenda. And there's only 3 pages to it. But here's what I want to bring out some background. And I don't know why this is doing that, but that's okay because we can get right back to it. Okay. Here's what I wanted to point out. This is a sister city. So I want to give you some background on sister cities. Omaha sister cities: Japan, Germany, Lithuania, Ireland, Mexico, China, and Normandy, France. And now we're going to get another one. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. Here's where I have the problem with. Black Men United have been trying for almost 9 years to get a sister city in Africa. That's right. Sister city in Africa, 9 years. How long? How long is it going to take to get this accomplished? And this is all underneath whose watch? Omaha City Council, but Queen Mayor Stothard. You have been, and you know about this has been going on, as I said. And I just want to give folks a little background.
Cox Business is here to set you up with tech solutions that adapt to your business needs, like reliable tech.
For years, Black Men United has served the Omaha community with its food pantry and volunteer work.
Now, as John Chapman reports, the organization wants to help small businesses by adding a city in Ghana to Omaha's list of sister cities.
Earlier this week, Black Men United held its second annual Doing Business in Ghana meeting at the Greater Omaha Chamber.
It's about collaborating, networking, and building economic development between Africa and Omaha.
President and CEO of Black Men United, Willie Hamilton, has made a couple of trips to the African nation, working to make connections. Hamilton says working with Ghana just makes sense, and the connection could help small business.
We got some small businesses here. We have some small businesses that's doing business over in Africa. How can we get together, bring in the right people to really grow this? This is a win-win situation for Omaha, Nebraska.
Representatives from Ghana had an opportunity to talk to President and CEO of the Greater Omaha Chamber, Heath Mello. Mello says the chamber is always looking for business opportunities.
International engagement, international business is part of what Omaha does. It's part of what the Great Omaha Chamber does. It's important for our local economy, but it's more important for our businesses. It creates relationships, it creates new global markets, and it's something that we need to do more of as a region.
Mello says recently during Berkshire Hathaway weekend, the chamber hosted meetings with international investors,
where we had investors from Ireland, from Canada, from Denmark, all coming in to have a similar conversation about trade and in international investment, how we do international business deals here in Omaha.
Hamilton says Ghana is one of the largest U.S. export markets for goods in Africa, and he believes Omaha should continue to work towards building a relationship with the West African country.
It's building that recognition that we have to have among each other and building trust. So I think it's imperative that we do that, and we start taking people back and forth to Africa.
On your side in Omaha, I'm John Chapman, 6 News.
So my point here is, you look at the list of cities. Here is city Ghana. It's Black. It's Africa. Now, I know some people will say, oh, she's putting the rate. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is why, and I'm asking a question. Why has it taken so long, and it hasn't even happened? For 9 years, it's been working on, has submitted, done paperwork over paperwork over paperwork. And supposedly it's going to happen, and it hasn't happened. But other cities that have not been that long have become sister cities of Omaha. And we had the president of the CEO of the chamber talk about how important it was to be able to have international relationships, and how at the Berkshire they had conversations with investors. So then why aren't we seeing Ghana become one of the sister cities? But we are going to have a vote, and it will pass on sister city of Italian Republican. And I don't have any problem, like I said, it's not a race thing. It's an issue. Well, if it's good for one, isn't it good for others? What's good for the hen is good for the chicken, the rooster. What's good for the rooster? What the point is, why is it taking more than 9 years to get a relationship with the African country and the population of Africans that have come to Omaha to reside? The ideal of small businesses being involved. Another item that I think is bearing a lot of attention, or it should be, but here again, our city council does a very poor job of getting this information out to the citizens before it comes down. And then right now, people have become so, well, what's the use? They're going to. People, it is our money. Our votes are powerful. Another one that's looking at, and I don't really, I don't have the full understanding here. Now, why did this one take place? I think we kind of have a know why, and it says that the city charter study convention put this in, and to ensure that the period of time to forfeit a position for unexcused absence is not unreasonably long. The third part of the amendment is being implemented by the council to ensure that members who have acted inappropriately can no longer serve on the city council. So, we all have an ideal. This is going back to the Benny Paleros situation. So I'm not, like, okay, real all upset about it or opposed to it. I just think that it needs to be brought out, transparency of why this is going on. But here is the one, this 51, Ordinance 43933, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2, Article 2, Division 1 of the Omaha Municipal Code entitled Generally, by adding a section 2-5 to provide for a code of conduct. First reading, July 23rd. The second reading and public hearing will be Tuesday, July 30th. Now, here is the important part. People, you need to see what this attachment is. Here we go. This ordinance, supposedly, at the request, let me get you, at the request of the City Council Law Committee, which includes Councilman Danny Bagley, Councilman Brinker Harding, and Councilwoman Amy Melton, attached this ordinance. And they were helpful, responsible, however you want to put it, to create a code of conduct for the City Council. Why is this code of conduct necessary? Because of one City Council member? Look at it, folks. Here's the problem, the ordinance. If you read this ordinance, there are very questionable items in it that people should know of. If this passes, remember the City Council was elected by you and me. Elected by you and me. If this goes through, which if there is no, probably, no opposition. Well, there is one opposition that's so far, but this is only because this individual reads the agenda and knows what's going on. But many of you do not know your vote. Remember, it is your vote who put these people in that position. It is your vote who put a Queen Mayor in. It is your vote. So it's important that you know. And if you go through there are several items when it talks about, hey, I'm all for receiving personal gift against receiving personal gifts or favor when the council member knows or should have known the intention to influence an official act. Hey, we can deal with that. That's right. But it's some of these discrimination. Who decides discrimination? Who decides that? Intentionally makes false statement. We can all get it out. Here, why is this put in? Creating a hostile environment, work environment. Now, this was put in, if they probably won't say it, but this has a tendency to say one councilman. Here we got again, one council member. It's always one council member should not dictate to what should be changed for the electoral who voted these individuals in. Creating a hostile work environment. Now, we all know what's been going on with District 2 representative, the mayor, and certain city council members. So you sneak this little one here in with all this other, people aren't going to pay it. A council member shall represent that any stated opinion is their own and does not represent the opinion of the city council unless the council had. Come on. We're all intelligent to know that that is what it's supposed to be. But how many times has the Queen Mayor said things that appear to be, because it isn't said, this is just my opinion, but it is stated as if it is coming from the mayor in a mayoral position. Now here, a council member shall not divulge the contents of discussion held or any material provided in executive session with any outside third party. So we all see that. We know what this means. Folks, it goes on and continues. What I feel like we need to do is, when you look at here, when it gets into this, after receipt of the complaint, the city attorney and the human resource director can, depend on the circumstances, take note. They determine. Well, that's not necessarily fair. That's not. Where does it say here that the city council member that this action is supposed to be, or this complaint against, why couldn't does this city council member have to get an attorney? Because they don't get to be involved in this discussion. So this is arbitrarily designed by the president or an assigned committee of the city council, the city attorney, and the human resources only. You can initiate an investigation. And then number 4, after that, the conclusion of this and there's none, where does it say that any discussion with the city council member who this investigation is being taken on, they're not involved in this? If 5 members of the council find that there is sufficient evidence of a violation, a public hearing will be set. During a hearing on a violation, the city attorney will present the evidence as to the violations. The violating council member is allowed to respond and to be represented by an attorney at their own cost. Now, the law department there is supposed to be taking up for, or is the attorney for the city. You put this in, and here you're making this be an attorney at their own cost. Any vote on this shall occur in public hearing and require 5 votes. If a violation is found, a vote of 5 council members whose conduct is not at issue on the complaint is required to determine the discipline, which may be one of the following. And look at this. Formal resolution, public censure. Formal resolution of a reprimand. Formal resolution for a call of resignation. This I find hard. Resignation. They can ask for a resignation of that city council member that we voted on. They are taking our voting right away. The city council president or another member, on and on, shall advise the council member of the alleged. Here again, public recommends censure or expelled from the meeting. The city council president or another member of the city council member may call another member out of order for violating misconduct, in which case this applies. This ordinance being in legislative character and in accordance shall be enforced and take effect 15 days from the passage. Folks, you need to be abreast of this, and you need to take and say, if you agree with it, okay, say so. If you don't agree with it, we need to say so. Now, there was one person who so far, like I said, who follows this, and I happen to know this young lady. We've had great conversations. Some things we have agreed on and some things we haven't, but that is what we have an understanding of. Here is her opposition, and this is what you really need to read. Please accept this as my oppositions to item 64 and number 67. Considered to be the code of conduct. The way it is written depletes public access to information and could potentially lead to weaponizing of it to remove a sitting council member for mere disagreements, misunderstanding, opposed to major official duty violations. This, she's got it here right. What again, it goes to the point what I said. They're trying to take away a position that we elected a person to. Additionally, a small offering, I feel inclined to question the order in which these ordinances are presented. A council member may be removed is dependent on item 67 and its passage, yet 67 item is listed after the item that depends on it. Now, the reason these item numbers are different than what is on the July 30th, because that's what they were in on the July 23rd agenda. And here again, it was the first reading. And if you hadn't listened and paid attention to that, you wouldn't even know that this was up. I will begin. In analyzing both the city of Lincoln and the city of Chicago, as well as other codified code of conducts, discrepancies as to what the city of Omaha is attempting to do. Basically, what the City of Omaha and Queen Mayor is attempting to do is to affect what the voters of the City of Omaha have put into place. And this all boils down to one ongoing, what can I say? One ongoing confusion, as she said, difference of opinion and so forth with one city council member. The conduct of code proposes that the City of Omaha absolutely must be applicable to both elected officials and employees of the city government, most importantly, appointed cabinet members and inclusive of the mayor. In it, discrimination, you have not, and that's one of the things I brought out. You didn't define what is discrimination. Confidential information must be by law according to that. We know the statutes do. So why are they making this a difference? Intentionally made false statements need to be looked at with more scrutiny in its wording and application. How does this look if information provided at one point thought to be true and facts turn out to be holistic true unintentionally? However, the council member is then accused of intentionally making a false statement. Again, I question and I agree with that. It's too vague. It needs to be more defined. Item number 4, letters in H and I, hostile work environment and retaliation needs to be defined, because this ordinance is nothing but retaliation. Item 7 is very questionable in its entirety and must be met with more scrutiny. According to the state of Nebraska, one of the purpose for the first open meeting statute was to tighten restrictions on closed or executive sessions. The way item 7 written places a council member in a compromising position between this ordinance and the Nebraska state open meetings law. Should the two conflict, there's nothing that's in this ordinance to say what should be a solution to that. As she goes on, I would highly, highly recommend that you get this, go to the city council meeting agendas online and pull up the opposition. It is very well written and very explicit. I believe both items need more scrutiny, for which I described above, and the code of conduct needs to be applied to both elected officials and employees. Let me get this back over here. So what happened was I did try to reach out, and it was late. I only got this on Thursday, so I didn't have much time, but I tried to reach out to the city council members to, to get their opinion on this particular item. And I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button here, but we'll get back over here to our Zoom meeting. There we go. Sorry about that. I did reach out to the city council members to try to get a opinion or comments, rather, I should say, on this issue. And unfortunately, like I said, it was on Friday. And we all know how Fridays are, so I can accept that. But I am still going to write to them to see if there will be any comments that they are willing to write on come Tuesday. As I said, there were the three in the ordinance. You can see there are 3 city council members who are on the law committee, which were Councilwoman Melton, Councilman Brinker Harding, Councilman Bagley. Those all 3 are on the law committee and were involved. Councilman Bagley said that he respectfully, and I respect his decision, would not comment on this until the public hearing after Tuesday. So, because he wanted to listen to his constituents. Here's my problem with that, and I don't, and I will respect that. I'm still going to send him my questions and comments. But how can people give you your constituents if your constituents don't even know this is happening? Also, I'd like to point out, where is our media? Why hasn't one of our media, Flatwater, Omaha World Herald, can't even think of all of them. Well, we don't really have that many anymore, do we? But anyway, how come the media isn't getting out to the public about this particular item? Because this is important, that people know what is about to take, because the reason why it's so important, it is affecting our vote. We put in our vote to elect each one of those city council members. They may come from a district, but they are there to represent the entire city of Omaha. And they don't even know about this. Why isn't this being brought out? So hopefully it will. I'm definitely sending this to every outlet, the television 6, channel 6, 742, all the way down the line, because I think, why isn't someone bringing out the importance of this ordinance? Anything that is affecting the vote of a citizen should be, why aren't they getting questions and answers? All right. Well, that's it for the city council. And as I said, every Friday we will be having, producing questions that you might, or that you should, or are you willing to ask of the Omaha City Council on their upcoming city council agenda. Have a great evening. And again, thank you for tuning in. And please hit the like button or sign up for subscribe. And we are even on Facebook now. So look us up there. But people, this is an important one coming up on Tuesday, July 30th. 2024. Have a great evening. Thank you.